tonight in a theme that rhymes. God, work with my mind. Get me prepared for what you have for me. There are many of you, you don't have things tonight that you should have. Therefore, who should already be possessing certain things tonight, but you don't have it. You don't have it. And the reason you don't have it is your mind. Jesus was at this moment telling his present disciples to remember Lot's wife. Probably nowhere in the New Testament do we see Jesus, and of course remember Jesus simply means Savior, asking people to remember anyone. But when it came to this woman, come on somebody, I said when it came to this woman, Jesus deemed this woman and what happened to her to be important. So he says, remember Lot's wife. What do you want to remember about Lot's wife? Is that she looked back or she disobeyed and died. This morning's subject is simple. Don't die looking back. Look at somebody and tell him or her, don't die looking back. Oh, I wish you'd tell somebody else, whatever you do, don't die looking, finish it. Woo! Come on, somebody, give him a hand of praise this morning. Don't die looking back. How many know God doing too much right now for anybody to look? Let me deal with it for a few moments. What's interesting is that when you look in Genesis 12, God gives Abram, his name is Abram at the time, because God had not yet changed his name to Abraham, because the name Abraham means the father of nations. And of course, we know through faith, Abraham would also become the father of faith. Abraham would go down in history as a man who trusted God. Abraham trusted God so much that God made out of him a nation. God brought out of the loins of Abraham his own special people. But before God could do it in the life of Abraham, when you go back and you look at Genesis 12 and 1, God required Abram at the time, he gave him a word saying, get away from your family and from your father's house to a land that I will show you. In other words, God started with Abraham by giving Abram instructions, allowing him to know that he had something for him. Come on, somebody. I said, God allowed Abram to know that I have something for you, Abram. I have an assignment for you. I have something special that I desire to do in you. Watch this, and do through you. Now, how many know our name is not Abram, but how many know God has something he desires to do in you as well as through you? Come on, I need some witnesses this morning. How many already know that God is doing something in you and he's doing something through you? Now, the thing that I love about God is what he's doing in us is that before God can ever use any of us, he has to sanctify us. Come on, somebody. Yeah, I still believe in sanctification. Don't look at me like that. God still has to sanctify his people before he can use them. Pastor, what does the word sanctify mean? From a simple standpoint, to be sanctified simply means to be set apart. Anytime God is going to use you for his glory, for his honor, then he's going to set you apart. Come on, somebody. He's going to do things in your life that's going to make you distinct from other people. Oh, I said he's going to do things in your life that's going to make you unique from the folk that you hang with. Oh, he's going to give you a new way of talking. Come on, somebody. He's going to give you a new way of thinking, and he's going to give you a better way of doing or choosing. And when people look at your life, as I said before, they won't always have to read a Bible to know that God is real. Sometimes the Bible that folks is going to read is the life that we live before them. I wish I had some witnesses in the house that just your lifestyle has sparked a conversation. Am I right about it this morning? See, you still have folk that want God to use them, but they don't want to obey God. They don't want to be submissive to what God desires for them to do. But in order, again, for God to use anyone, whether that be a person or a group of folk, he's going to sanctify them, again, meaning to set them apart. And in the book of Genesis chapter 12, again, God appeared to Abram and said to Abram, get away from your family. Get away from your father's house to a land that I'm going to show you. And y'all may not like this, but a lot of time people have trouble getting away from folk that's got the same name as they got. Share the same blood, the same DNA. But can I preach it right this morning? Sometimes you got to break away even from family. Yes, you do. Yes, you do. Sometimes you got to get away from folk that you growed up with. The reason some men can't be men right now is because they won't get away from the boys that they grew up with. But I come to tell you, there comes a time in your life that God want to use you. And he will require that you move away from certain things. He'll require you to move away from certain people. Now, I know some of you looking at me, you letting me know, well, Pastor, I'm stubborn. I'm my own man. I do what I want to do. Well, you'll never have the blessings of God on your life with that kind of mentality. Because I don't care how old you get, we ain't ever too old that we can't listen to God and those to whom God chooses. Whoa, come on here, somebody, to use. I don't ever, as the old folks say, want to get too big for my britches that even God himself cannot tell me what I need to do. And when I think about God being all-knowing, I understand that if God is telling me to separate myself from what I teach at Refuge, he always does. Y'all didn't say it loud enough. He always does what's best. Sometimes God can't do in your life what he want to do because of the company that you're keeping. And like it or not, the company that you're keeping can have an influence on your choices. Again, I know some of you saying, not me, Pastor. No, all of us. If we ain't careful, that's when you want folk to be close to you. It's so that they can influence you, hopefully, to do better. Did y'all catch it? I said we need people around us. No man is an island. I need somebody around me. But I got to be careful who's around me, who's saying things to me. I got to be careful whose advice I take.